Hello, and welcome to my YouTube channel. My name is Claire Candy Hough, and through my business, Angel Healing House, which can be found at angelhealinghouse.com. I'm a licensed Reiki Master Teacher, an angel practitioner. I'm also an international radio host, an author, and a writer. And throughout all the things I do, I have the infinite joy and blessing of being able to channel angel messages, in particular from my angelic family, who are called the Posse of Angels. And the Posse of Angels were very exact in the title of this topic today, which was Healing Family Relationships. You know, with today being November 30th, I cannot believe that this is the last day of November 2013. And you know what? I know everyone says this, but hasn't this past year flown? And if I was to be completely honest, for me, the first part of 2013, well, it was still pretty much like pushing molasses across a flat surface, as not much of anything seemed to be happening for me. Yet in September, many of us experienced breakthroughs of magical connections that on the surface started the ball rolling, that created movement towards the fulfillment of our dreams. And as we began to get excited about that forward movement, wham! October, November came in and basically gave us a time of standstill. And the Posse of Angels is saying that they were not being cruel or even overly unkind by giving us this time of quiet. The time of seemingly nothing happening in October, November was given to us as a blessing to reset our energies and to reset our lives. And the area that so many of us have found ourselves returning to in October and November were our families. You know, many times our relationship with our families are the hardest to deal with, as they are often laden with the heavy burden of blame and seeing ourselves as victims. Now the Posse of Angels are chiming in, and they're saying that there are several reasons for so many of us returning and reconnecting with family. By returning to our families, many of us experienced just how far we've come, as we are now living a life of acceptance, non-judgment, peace, and love. You know, with many people having cleared and cleansed their emotional issues, we've allowed ourselves to detach from family members' stories and perhaps their perpetual dramas. By detaching and allowing our family members to live their own journey, we love them for exactly where they choose to be. Now, having done so, we have transcended the need for blame and finding fault in others. You know, with clear-eyed awareness, many of us have now taken responsibility for our contribution to perhaps the perpetuation of negative emotions attached to family members. Having done all of the above, we have actually taken back our empowerment, connected to our divine eternal nature, and we've chosen to come home to who we are. And because many of us have chosen to come home to ourselves, we chose to literally go back home to our roots. And you know, whether the reason for the trip back home was to perhaps see an ailing parent or just to catch up with relatives, there was a deeper reason for us going. My client, Mary, now Mary is not her real name, Mary experienced what it felt like to return back to her family in October. In previous sessions, she had revealed to me that being the only girl in her family with two brothers had been very difficult. In the culture in which she was raised, her mother and her father praised the sons, and they virtually did not recognize their daughter. It was actually voiced that education would be wasted on her, as she was very pretty, and her parents knew that she would be married off to someone rich. And while Mary was not against marriage or even having children, she grew up deeply saddened that her talent of writing was not encouraged and it was not praised like those of her brothers. Putting all of her effort into her looks, Mary made the decision to get the recognition of her parents by marrying a wealthy man. She had his children, and she went on to live many years of being subjected to his abuse. After she decided to divorce, she decided that even though her family did not honor her talent of writing, she would honor herself, and she began to write. In the months that followed, only out of a sense of duty would she force herself to go home for visits. On the days before her departure, she would begin to feel a heavy feeling of either being judged by her family for divorcing or not being listened to at all. And every time she visited her parents, her feelings were like a premonition, a self-fulfilling prophecy that had her filled with rage at her parents' blatant disregard for her efforts, as they praised her older brothers. Through our intuitive counseling and Reiki healing sessions, Mary was able to clearly see her life from a higher perspective, and she saw why she had chosen certain souls to be her parents. She also saw why she had chosen their contrasting characteristics to help strengthen and challenge aspects of her life in order for her to grow spiritually. Through her sessions together, Mary became empowered to respect her talents as a writer. With renewed enthusiasm, she finished her first novel. She then honored her writing and she signed with a literary agent. It was some time later that she joyously called to tell me that a major publishing house was going to publish her first book. It was an absolute dream come true for her. Excited by her book being represented, Mary decided to go home for a visit and to finally prove to her family that she was a recognized writer. Sitting with her family while they were sharing tea, she excitedly told them what she had accomplished, as she had kept the knowledge of the publishing of her book a secret. And the only thing that her mother said was, "You know, your older brother is a brilliant writer. Why doesn't he get a literary agent?" It was in that very moment that Mary realized that what her mother said or did not say, well, it no longer had any effect on her. With the work that Mary and I had done in our sessions, she was no longer reactive, and she knew that her mother's words had nothing to do with whether she was talented or not, but it was more of a reflection of her mother's own programming to favor sons. In that instant, when Mary realized that she no longer needed anyone else's recognition of her talents, she smiled, knowing that she was no longer dependent on her family's approval. In fact, she later told me, for the rest of the visit, that she saw her family through the eyes of the divine. Because she was no longer reactive, she saw her family as lovely souls with their own free will, who were allowed to make choices along their journey in life. And instead of being judgmental or resentful or angry, Mary chose to bless her parents and respect them for exactly where they chose to be on their own spiritual journey. You know, she thanked me for reminding her that we each have the spiritual keys of awakening within us, as we are all divine. Some of us choose to find the keys to enlightenment quickly. Some choose to keep themselves in the dark and find the keys slowly. And there are some others who choose never to experience enlightenment at all. And this, along with the others, is fine. For this is each person's free will along their journey of life. turning the mirror back on herself and remembering that it took her to the age of 40 to awaken to who she was. Mary let go of judgment and how her parents should act and allowed them the same freedom of choice on whether or not to enlighten. With her letting go of judgment, she stopped blaming others and using them as an excuse for not honoring her God-given talents. She started to live through her divine, eternal nature and her unlimited power within. In this way, Mary's trip back to her family was not so much about reuniting with them, but more so of reuniting with herself. For the reflection of Mary's family showed her that she connected with her power inside, and that she, and she alone, was capable of stepping forward to fulfilling her dream of becoming a writer. And viewers, if you desire some assistance in healing your family relationships, and once and for all releasing any obstacles that may be blocking your path to realizing your dream, I would love to help you. To book your own intuitive counseling and Reiki healing session and or book an angel reading, you can phone me, Claire Candy, on 831-277-3716 or email me at candy@angelhealinghouse.com. Also, to order my inspirational book, Angels of Faith, or my beautiful, relaxing Angel Meditation CD, which is entitled Letting Go of Concerns and Living in the Now, please go to the Angel Healing House website, which is angelhealinghouse.com. I want to thank you all once again for tuning into my YouTube channel, and I look so forward to being with you all once again. I'm sending you lots of love and certainly angel blessings, and I'd like you to remember to go forth, find the passion and the empowerment inside, and go out and to fashion a beautiful life for yourself. Take care, everyone, until we see each other again soon. Bye.